A judge just delivered a bombshell ruling. Joseph Duggar is now legally forbidden from being alone with his own children. That's the headline that has rocked the internet, making another shocking chapter in the ongoing saga of the Duggar family. But what really happened inside that courtroom to trigger such a drastic measure? And what does it mean for the future of the Duggar dynasty? Today, I'm breaking down the stunning details of the pre-trial hearing, the evidence that shaped the judge's decision, and the legal firestorm that's only just getting started. I'm going to look at the court documents, the arguments from both sides, and what this all means not just for Joseph, but for his wife Kendra, their four children, and the entire family network that is once again at the center of a massive scandal. This isn't just about a headline, it's a complex legal case with devastating human consequences. Let's get into how we got here.
Blood on the grass won't wash away undetected footprints.
To really grasp the weight of this court hearing, we have to go back to March 18th, 2026. On that day, Joseph Duggar, the seventh child of Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar, was arrested in his home state of Arkansas. The arrest was made on a warrant issued out of Bay County, Florida, and the charges were staggering: molestation of a child and lewd or lascivious conduct. According to the arrest affidavit and statements from the Bay County Sheriff's Office, the charges come from an incident that allegedly happened back in 2020 during a family vacation in Panama City Beach, Florida. The alleged victim was 9 years old at the time. Told investigators that during the trip, Joseph Duggar engaged in a pattern of inappropriate behavior. This included repeatedly asking her to sit on his lap, and on one occasion, covering them both with a blanket and proceeding to manipulate her underwear and graze her genitals. Investigators noted that the behavior allegedly stopped after Duggar apologized to the girl. The case blew wide open in March of 2026 when the girl's father confronted Joseph about the allegations. According to law enforcement, Duggar then admitted to his actions, not only to the girl's father, but also to detectives from the Tontatown Police Department in Arkansas. This reported confession on March 17th was a critical piece of evidence that led to the warrant and his arrest. After his arrest, Joseph waived his right to an extradition hearing, agreeing to be transferred to Florida to face the charges. He was eventually released on a massive $600,000 bond, but his freedom came with strict conditions. One of the most important conditions, and the one that brings us to today's topic, was an order that prohibited him from having any unsupervised contact with any minor under 18. This order was sweeping and absolute, immediately raising a huge question. What did this mean for his own four children and with his wife, Kendra? The order as written included them, meaning from the moment he was released, Joseph Duggar was legally forbidden from being alone with his own kids. Just as the public was reeling from the news out of Florida, the situation got even more complicated. Only 2 days after Joseph's arrest, on March 2026, his wife Kendra Duggar was arrested in Tontatown, Arkansas. Court records reveal that both Joseph and Kendra were being jointly charged with 8 counts: 4 counts of endangering the welfare of a minor, and 4 counts of second-degree false imprisonment. Tontatown police made it clear that these Arkansas charges were separate from the Florida case. Though they acknowledged their own investigation was launched on the heels of the Florida incident, this suggests that Joseph's arrest triggered an immediate welfare check at his and Kendra's home. And what investigators allegedly found there was serious enough to bring criminal charges against both parents. While authorities have been guarded with specifics due to the involvement of minors, the charges of endangering welfare and false imprisonment paint a disturbing picture of the conditions inside the home. Unlike the Florida case, reports indicate the alleged victims in the Arkansas case were the couple's own children. Joseph and Kendra have pleaded not guilty to these charges, and their next court date in Arkansas is scheduled for August 10th, 2026. This second legal battle isn't just a footnote, it's a critical context. It shows that Joseph isn't just fighting one case in Florida. He and his wife are simultaneously defendants in a criminal case at home that directly involves the safety of their own children. This fact will soon play a major role in the Florida courtroom. And that brings us to the main event, the pretrial hearing held via Zoom in Bay County, Florida, on Tuesday, June 16th, 2026. The purpose of this hearing was for Joseph Duggar legal team to make a very bold request. His attorney, Albert Solon, has filed a motion to amend the conditions of his pretrial release, specifically asking to modify the no contact order to allow Joseph unsupervised contact with his own biological children. Appearing before a judge, Brantley S. Clark, Duggar's attorney, argued that the broad wording of the release condition was creating an undue hardship for the family unit. He argued that since Joseph's children were not the alleged victims in the Florida case, the Florida court was overstepping its bounds. Albert even called it a little unusual for a criminal case in one state to dictate parental contact in another. It was a legal gamble, trying to carve out an exception to a very serious restriction by asking the judge to see the Florida case in a vacuum. But the prosecution was ready. The state's attorney immediately connected the dots the defense was trying to keep separate, pointing directly to the ongoing legal troubles in Arkansas. The prosecutor argued that Joseph's own children are considered the alleged victims in a separate, active criminal case out of Arkansas, and that they are already limitations on him in that case. This was the moment that the two cases officially collided in the courtroom. The prosecution made it impossible for the judge to ignore the full picture. The request wasn't just about a father wanting to see his kids, it was about a defendant in a two-child related criminal case asking for an unchecked access to minors who are at the very center of one of those cases. We're about to get into the judge's stunning ruling and what it means for the future. This level of detailed, document-based reporting is what we strive for on this channel, to cut through the rumors and give you facts. If you appreciate this kind of in-depth analysis, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. It's the best way to make sure you don't miss our continuing coverage of this and other major cases. Your support helps me continue to do this work. After hearing both sides, Judge Brantley S. Clark delivered a swift and unequivocal ruling. The request to allow Joseph Duggar unsupervised contact with his own children was denied. The judge was clear that while Joseph could still have supervised contacts, the ban on being alone with them would remain firmly in place. Judge Clark explicitly stated he can certainly have supervised contact with his children, and of course, I can't do anything about any prohibitions that the Arkansas jurisdictions have. This statement shows that the judge was fully aware of the parallel case in Arkansas and was making his decision based on the total circumstances. The ruling was a massive blow to the defense, confirming that the court saw Joseph not just as a defendant in a single case, but as a figure at the center of a complex web of child safety concerns. But that wasn't the only loss for Joseph's legal team. They also asked to amend another condition of his release, one that barred him from being within 500 feet of the alleged victim's former home in Florida. The defense argued this was interfering with Joseph's work, claiming he owns multiple rental properties in that area and needed to perform maintenance. The judge was completely unmoved. He denied this motion as well, stating that if work needed to be done, Joseph could simply send employees to do it for him. The second denial reinforced the court's stance. Convenience and business interests do not outweigh the strict conditions of a bond release in a child molestation case. To truly understand the scandals that have repeatedly plagued the Duggar family, you have to look at the ideological framework that has governed their lives. The Institute in Basic Life Principles, or IBLP, founded by Bill Gothard. The IBLP is a fundamental Christian organization that promotes a strict, patriarchal worldview. Its teachings are built on a pyramid of authority with the father at the top, and they emphasize absolute obedience and handling problems internally, rather than involving secular authorities like the police, This creates a closed system where victims can be pressured into silence and perpetrators are shielded from public accountability. We saw this exact pattern with the family's first major scandal involving the eldest son, Josh Duggar. In 2015, it was revealed that a teenager, Josh, had molested 4 of his own sisters and a babysitter. The family handled it internally, leading to years of hidden trauma before the story broke. Years later, Josh was arrested on federal charges of receiving and possessing child sexual abuse material. On December 9, 2021, he was convicted and is now serving a 151-month sentence in a federal prison in Texas. Now, with Joseph Duggar facing his own set of heinous allegations, a horrifying pattern emerges. This isn't just about 2 brothers who have allegedly committed terrible crimes. It's about a family culture steeped in IBLP ideology that has proven dangerously ineffective at preventing abuse and wholly inadequate at responding to it. The focus on internal discipline and the pressure to maintain a perfect public image create an environment where darkness can fester. Joseph's case, like Josh's before it, isn't just an individual failing. It is a catastrophic failure of the system the Duggars built and promoted to the world. The judge ruling was a definitive public statement while Joseph Duggar is presumed innocent until proven guilty. The court views the allegations as incredible enough to warrant extreme protective measures over all children in his life, including his own. So what's next? The legal road ahead is long. Joseph Duggar is scheduled to be back in Florida court for another pre-trial hearing on July 14, 2026. Meanwhile, the criminal case in Arkansas against both Joseph and Kendra continues, with their next court date set for August 10th. This family is now fighting a war on 2 fronts in 2 different states, with their freedom hanging in the balance. For Kendra, the situation is a nightmare, standing accused alongside her husband while he fights a life felony charge in another state. This case is far from over. It is a legal firestorm that is only just beginning, and it threatens to consume what remains of the Duggar family's public image. I will continue to follow every development, cutting through the noise to bring you the factual, document-based reporting you need to understand this complex and tragic story. Now I want to hear from y'all. What are y'all's thoughts on the judge's decision? Do you believe the court made the right call by considering the separate Arkansas case? Let me know your perspective in the comments below.
Blood on the grass won't wash away undetected footprint.